excited. Part of what we do here at OXE is introduce you to some of our community members so you can see and learn how they're applying exchange out in the world. And so I'm really excited to be introducing to you three amazing women today. We're going to bring them up to the stage and introduce them now. So we'd love to welcome Cynthia Maloney and Taryn Laakso up to the stage, who are both level 2 mastery members inside the exchange community. They're both certified exchange guides. Taryn is a holistic leadership coach, and Cynthia is an integrative well-being coach. They're both committed to unlocking feminine wisdom in all humans, and especially those who are high achieving and want to do less and be more. Taryn and Cynthia, it's awesome to have you with us to share today. It was great spending time with you at our last 2 in-person community summits, and I'm just super energized to see the design work you did at our summit actually come to life, and can't wait to hear what you have to share with us today. So thanks so much for being here.
My pleasure.
Awesome. We're also going to welcome up to the stage Dr. Nicole Bossard. Dr. Nicole, welcome. You're a level 2 mastery member inside the exchange community. Dr. Nicole has a PhD in leadership and change. She's also the president of TGC Consulting, a firm that leverages the power of purpose and positivity to sustain whole system change. Dr. Nicole, you specialize in working with different types of groups all across the country, specifically nonprofit, government, and human services. You've got over 20 years of experience as a student, a practitioner, a teacher of appreciative inquiry. And one of the things I love the most about you is your energy, your enthusiasm, the joy that you bring. And you're always so uplifting. I can't wait to hear what you have to share and how you're going to uplift all of us in the room here today. Thanks so much for being with us. Awesome. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go back and start with Taryn and Cynthia. You two are doing work together, which is why we invited both of you to share here today, which is awesome. Part of what we have in the room here today is people who come from all kinds of diverse backgrounds and work out in the world. And some of you may be thinking, is this approach going to work with the clients, customers, communities that I serve? And so the first question I'd like to invite you to answer, and maybe we'll start with you, Taryn, is, what types of clients, communities, or environments have you brought the exchange approach into? And what's an example of a specific outcome or a result that you've seen that's maybe been surprising or revealing about the power of the exchange approach?
Great question, Stephen. I started off with individual humans, clients, and nonprofits where I was sitting at. And now what's emerged over the last year is just communities of heart-centered people coming together to learn. And specifically brought this work into a framework called positive intelligence. And so just regular humans out there who want to raise their resiliency and apply the exchange approach to that program, and have just seen really wonderful impacts to the participants going through what we've designed as a 12-week exchangified experience.
Awesome. Taryn, thank you for sharing that. And Cynthia, anything you want to add to what you've seen become possible, or a specific outcome or result in the work that you've applied exchange to?
Yes, I would love to add that we are, like you said in the intro, we're really wanting to impact women who want to do less and be more, who are in leadership, who are in tech and energy, entrepreneurs, education, coaches, facilitators.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I know you're both certified positive intelligence coaches, and you're bringing the work into that space. Are most of the communities that you're working with related to that, or you're working across all different types of industries and communities?
Well, the great thing with positive intelligence, it can be in any industry. Where we've been harnessing it is in its energy, nonprofits, and high tech. So those have kind of been the 3 niche areas that we've been focusing on, and specifically high achieving women in those areas.
I see. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. And I'm going to invite Dr. Nicole to answer the similar question. Dr. Nicole, maybe some examples of where you've applied the exchange approach, different types of clients or communities, and then an example of a specific result or an outcome that you've seen be created that maybe was surprising to you about the power of the exchange approach.
Hey, Steve. Hey, Exchange
Hey,
family.
great to see you.
Hey, everybody. So where I've been using Exchange, Steve, as you said, primarily in human services organizations, and that whether that be government funded at the local, state, or federal level. tribal communities that are also operating public or human services program. And I just want to bracket this for a second. What I mean by human services is those organizations that are privately funded, federally funded, or funded by your local or state governments that are responsible for wrapping around members of your community, people that you live with, work next to, perhaps worship with, play softball with on the weekend. For those of you who still remember what softball is, I'm not sure. It's 2023. Who knows? But so these human services folks, they're not only charged with helping community members that you are living and working next to, and perhaps yourself at some point in your journey, but also human services folks are doing good work also with the assumption that the work itself should be enough good for you to live on. So that's a little bit of another story for another time, but that is the impetus, Steve, that I really go into with exchange and with this DNA that it brings with it, appreciative inquiry, because we're looking to seed, we're looking to unlock and unleash some of that positive light and energy that's necessary to sustain one in doing that kind of work over a significant period of time. So that's kind of where and who I am bringing this work to. And the thing that has never ceased to amaze me over and over again is what you all have heard John say, or other members of the faculty say on multiple occasions: the speed at which and the scale at which we can unlock that kind of energy that Taryn was just speaking about, where and how we can unlock that energy at speed and at scale. And in any kind of bureaucracy, that in and of itself is a miracle. So I'll stop there.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Nicole. I know you bring this work into some at times can be very challenging environments. We were talking earlier today about different types of elements and factors that might exist in environments that make bringing this work challenging. I know you bring it in there and you have great success. We're going to come back to you in just a moment to share a specific example of how you've brought this work into different types of the communities and clients that you serve. I want to come back to Taryn and Cynthia now. And Taryn, I'll start with you again here specifically. You have an example of how you've applied the exchange approach, and would love to invite you to share just a story, the example of how you applied the exchange approach, question and choreographies, and what you saw happen as a result of this activity. I have your little agenda that I can put up on the screen here, and I might make a few notes as we go along here. So feel free to take it away.
Yeah, so at a high level, I came to Exchange Summit last year in October, and I said, I need help exchangifying the positive intelligence journey. And so we have taken that core program, 12 weeks now. It's a 12-week program, and it's immersive, it's experiential, and it's connected. And then from that, we opened up to what would a subscription experience like after you complete this core program. Now we want a community to grow them, so we've called this our new expansion. And within that one, twice a month we meet with our members who are continuing to practice the resiliency, staying in their sage mindset, staying with curiosity and empathy, and we host 2 calls a month for them. And one of these was a life application topic around conflict management. So nobody really wants to talk about conflict, and yet we guided them through using the exchange approach around connection. Why is it so important to have healthy conflict conversations? So they got to their purpose, they connected, and then they went to small group conversations around what matters about being in sage wisdom, using our heart space versus our head space. To really have connected conversations. And the awareness in the room, they're like, oh, this doesn't feel so scary anymore to have a difficult conversation. And the feedback we got in this was just amazing, that they're like, oh, I get it. I can have empathy for the person that I'm in conflict with. And that just unlocked so much wisdom from the room that I feel so grateful that we can achieve that through this framework.
Yeah, Taryn, thank you. And just to reflect back, and then I'm going to invite you to maybe share a little bit about this slide and how you applied this choreography. What I heard you say is you have an existing 12-week program, right, based on positive intelligence coaching, often referred to as PQ. And what you've done now is you've created a community that meets, was it 2 times a month, on a regular basis. So after this 12-week program, you go into a 2 times a month meeting, and you're using Exchange to facilitate that over time, where you bring these groups together twice a month.
You nailed it. Yep.
Yeah, excellent. And tell us a little bit about this question on the screen and how you use this to open up the session that we are talking about here. It's a connect choreography where you invited them to imagine the future through a possibility question. Tell us a little bit about how that worked.
Well, we were wondering, like, if we could be, we sat with the question ourselves, like, what does it mean to resolve conflict in a sage mindset? So we wanted to have that question answered for ourselves. So we thought, well, maybe this would be a great way to approach this topic with our community members, and had them really step through, like, what's possible for me when I'm not avoiding these difficult conversations, when I can come into it with more curiosity and empathy, what becomes possible for me? And then having them expand out in the circles to their family, their team members, in their community, for the work that they're doing and for the world. And it had them get out of that self-focused place and into the larger capacity, like larger, bigger perspective outside of themselves, out of their ego. So it just was a great connect opening question for them to sit with.
Awesome. Taryn, thanks for showing us how you applied the exchange approach using that future image question into your program. I'm going to invite now Cynthia to come up. And Cynthia, you have another example of how you used actually 2 questions inside of a connect choreography. So I'll invite you to give us a little background on that and share how you applied that choreography and question. And again, I'll bring up the agenda on the screen. And just for everyone to know, we will share these slides with you at the end of the day. You'll get a copy of these, so don't worry about that. Cynthia, go ahead.
I'm waiting to look at my agenda because I can't remember what I submitted. Thanks. I appreciate that. Okay. So a little bit of background. After Taryn and I designed and facilitated these PQ experiences, the positive intelligence experiences, it really unlocked the ability, using the same framework over and over again, to bring new topics to life. So we started creating workshops around various different topics, and we designed one called Unlocking Feminine Wisdom. And this has morphed into a beautiful space where we get to talk about the strengths that are available in various different seasons of our life, whether that be lifetime seasons or annual seasons or monthly seasons. And curiously, it can be replicated spring, summer, winter, fall, winter, get the order right. So in this connect choreography, we offer the opportunity for people to recognize what strengths that they want to honor and empower themselves with, and then what becomes possible when they begin to integrate those strengths into their daily lives. So we have them connect with themselves first, give them a little bit of journaling space like you've already experienced here, and then an opportunity to unpack these questions, what emerged, what will build up with another person through either a paired interview, or I think we have 3 people, groups of 3. That's right, the connect with this is a group of 3. So it's so incredible when people just have an opportunity to connect to themselves first and then connect with other people. What comes out of that? People want more of it. They give us their survey feedback that the best part of the entire thing wasn't even anything that we taught about. It was connecting with other people on something that was important. So that was really a key learning for me over and over again. The surveys are just so revealing about how the most important thing is connecting with other people.
Yeah, the power of connection. Right. I love that. Can we bring Taryn back up to the stage? And I wanted to invite both of you to share maybe just a little bit on how you came to collaborate together, because one of the things we talk a lot about inside of our community is, number one, the power of community, right? And number 2, you'll often hear us say, as you spend more time with us, don't design alone, don't facilitate alone, right? For obvious reasons. So maybe just anything you want to share on the power of community and how you two kind of started collaborating together.
Yeah, I'll start, Cynthia, and you can add in the flavor. We both are from the Pacific Northwest, Washington State. We actually met each other. We've had to fly all the way to Atlanta, Georgia for another community experience in 2019. And we never met each other. And then we somehow got into conversation. We're like, hey, we know each other. So it's been a journey, 2019 through 2020, and then we've been inviting each other into different spaces. So Cynthia invited me into the exchange community. I invited her into the positive intelligence community. And then we're like, oh, how do we bring this magic together and co-design and co-create a better experience for positive intelligence? And so it's been a organic evolution of our partnership, and I'm proud and just so delighted to be able to work side by side with Cynthia and her creative magic.
Yeah, that's anything you want to add to that, Cynthia?
You know, just having the opportunity to connect with each other, and we didn't even really know that we were going to continue on this journey a year from when we first started it. It was just taking that one next step to connect with each other and go, okay, how might we create a bigger impact? So I noticed in the chat, someone was saying, well, I have to facilitate alone. And I might want to challenge that just a little bit, because we've got this really great place where we're all being educated and in the same framework. So how might we connect with other people to support and each other's company and designing and facilitating all the things? So that's just one little thing that I have so appreciated about our journey over the last 4 years, and what I believe is to come is just, we've got this secret sauce, exchange.
Yeah, really, really cool. I also want to invite you, before I come back to you, Dr. Nicole, Cynthia, and Taryn. You both joined around September of 22, so a little over a year ago. I know you're big proponents of taking action, kind of progress over perfection. Tell us a little bit about how you took action and the number of events that you've led in since the time you've joined Exchange.
Let you answer that, Cynthia.
Well, it all started with planting that little seed, that desire to partner with another person to amplify the impact of our 8-week positive intelligence program. So after that, so many things have emerged on the topic. Once we got that framework down, it was incredibly easy to take the same framework, session designs, workbook templates, and create new things. So we started with positive intelligence core program. Then that became our community experience. And then we started designing free workshops. And then now we've got a training program for other PQ coaches. And now we've got Unlocking Feminine Wisdom, which is a whole other thing. So now we've got 2 core things that we can offer the world and how we want to show up. And that's just over a year later, 2 core programs, membership communities that we can offer our clients. And gosh,
I think I'm going to add in, I think we added up over 85 events that we have delivered since we started doing this work in October of last year, 2023 or 22. So we've been fast and furious and not letting that perfectionism get in our way. So it's okay to be messy. And we have leaned into this community to ask for like tech support, that like our tech angels is what we've been calling them. And I just shout out to all of you who have volunteered to do that. Thank you so much. You have been a part of this experience. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. It's incredible. When I saw that, I was blown away. Over 80 events in about a year time frame. I mean, you guys were obviously getting down to work, and yeah, right. Take a breather. Great examples. Thanks so much for sharing that, and we'll probably come back to you for one final word before we wrap up today. I want to invite Dr. Nicole back up to the stage here, and Dr. Nicole, would love to invite you to share a high point story or real life example that reveals how you've applied the exchange approach in some of your work. The specific questions, the choreographies, and again, I can put on the slide here or on the screen here your agenda and invite you to kind of tell us what's going on and walk us through how you used Exchange in this scenario.
Sure. So as I said with you all, I use this work primarily with human services organizations. So what you see on the screen is an example of the kind of work that I do by bringing the whole system into the room. And in human services, sometimes that's really, that's a unique feature. But as opposed to just having senior leaders in the room. That's what I mean by that being unique or different for some. But in this case, this involved youth in Ottumwa, Iowa. Their workforce development program or series of really collaborative partners or set of collaborative partners were very interested in how do we take an existing system that we know simply is not working as we hope it will for youth to facilitate them entering into the workforce, but not just finding a job, this community wanted to create an environment in which youth could really kind of launch into their own purpose, as well as becoming community leaders for the future of this community in Ottumwa, Iowa. So what you see here, they wanted to bring everybody together, and they called it Imagine Ottumwa Win. So this was an Imagine event. We had about 30 folks there, evenly mixed between youth age 16 to about 24, as well as several, as I said, programs and systems represented in the room that were doing everything from career counseling. Some were higher ed, if those of you are familiar with AmeriCorps, those that are helping youth who are kind of on a non-traditional track to their future, helping them find a track that will work and actually deliver them to their future. So wanting to really empower youth voice and use those youth voices in a way, or to really, Taryn, I believe you use this word harness, to really take the energy that's available amongst all of these members of the community and harness and focus it to create something to bring forth a truly new reality. So we use the purposeful connecting choreography group of about 3 that worked out mostly for the numbers that we had. But here's where I want to really zero in, and why I want to give you all a little bit of my feeling about this particular purposeful connecting question or type of question. That's all about giving people an opportunity to kind of say, why is it important for you to be here? Whether you've been in, this is your first kind of training or you've been in multiple trainings, one of the things that you've heard the faculty say is the power of why. And here's the only thing that I want to add to it from my experience as well as from my heart. This is an opportunity, especially for folks that tend to be marginalized within, in my case, human services systems, as well as community, an opportunity to stand and declare your why. Not because what the executive director said, not because what the counselor who invited you said, not because your mother who wanted you to come said. No, why is it important that I made time to be here? And for our young people in this community, that was kind of a revelatory opportunity to say, this is why I'm here, based on my own terms, and getting them to start with them and then to float out from why is it important for me, as well as those around me. And that's what you see in the thought joggers there. So that's the piece that I just wanted to articulate here is the power of giving voice. It's the why, yes, but being able to give people their own platform and a voice. And then we've created these little micro pods for connection, right? So folks are able to declare that why inside of community and be seen, be valued. In my case, these youth were able to be seen, be valued. And in the planning phase with some of the adults for this event, they were really concerned about if the youth would talk. Oh my goodness. Every breakout conversation, we had to bring them back. There was so much that these youth had to say, but no one had given them a space to really express themselves. There was no prompt, there was no question. So Steve, I want to stop there and kind of let you guide me so that you can, I want to make sure that I'm delivering what's needed here in this moment.
Yeah, well, Dr. Nicole, thank you very much for that overview. I want to point out a couple things here. One is we talked quite a bit today earlier about the purpose question, right? Why is it important to be here? You talked about, your why, right? Not somebody else's why, but what's your why? And I love here how you have sort of taken our purpose question and, brought your own flavor to it, right? What about this evening excited or inspired you to be here tonight? A beautiful variation on the classic purpose question. And so you can begin to see how you can customize these questions slightly to fit the environment that you're in. And then, you also mentioned these thought joggers or additional prompts, right? Why is it important to be here? Why are you excited or inspired to be here tonight? Not only for yourself, right, but for the community, for the Ottumwa youth, and for the future of Ottumwa. And so getting them to think on different levels, and you've seen us do that a number of times as well. I can tell this was a powerful event. Thanks very much for sharing how you brought Exchange into this group. And yeah, please go. You want something else to say? Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, just one more thing. As a result of the conversations had, several of these youth have signed on now to be a part of what has become a youth advisory council. And they're in the midst of redesigning their youth workforce system including an immersion program that will introduce youth to not just any career, but careers in public service and in human services, which was a big missing link inside of this community. So these conversations, the questions that you craft, they are truly fateful. So it can literally create a future that simply was not going to emerge on its own. So, and thank you to the exchange community and what you all have created. Having practiced appreciative inquiry for many years, there truly is some special sauce with exchange. So I just wanted to bring that forward.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Nicole. And it's just a great example of, this type of a group, right? This type of a community. The youth, the teenagers aren't always the easiest to get, as you said, to share, to talk, to open up, right? And so the power of the approach, getting them to open up, is significant, as well as the invitation for them to actually create this advisory council, right? We talked about earlier, people care about what they create. So using this co-creative process where they're actually involved in bringing some of these ideas to life and then shepherding them forward is another powerful example of how this approach can be used to create some real impact. So thank you for sharing that. We'll come back to you in just a moment for some final words. Let me bring back the screen to Cynthia and Taryn and just invite you briefly. We'll start with you, Taryn. Any final words of wisdom or encouragement that you might want to share with our participants here today? We'll go to Taryn first, and then we'll come to you, Cynthia, as a way to wrap up.
I might have dropped it a little bit earlier, but be messy. It's okay, especially if any of you have perfectionism as your, I don't know what, it's not kryptonite, but it's your thing, your deal. It's okay to just try something out and be messy with it. I love how John was like, hey, I've got some tech stuff going on, right? Earlier in the day, and be open about it, be vulnerable about it, and trust that these type of designed questions will create the impact that you're intending it to be. So it doesn't have to be perfect. It's about conversation and connection.
Yeah, I love that, Taryn. Great reminder. It's okay to start messy. Again, progress over perfection. Get out there, take action. Certainly what you two did over the past year or so. So congrats on that. Cynthia, anything you'd like to share as far as final words of wisdom or any parting advice for all of our participants here today?
I would say community is the answer to every problem. So that's probably my biggest thing that I would love to offer each of you here is you're just starting to explore exchange. Leaning into the exchange community and the Ask Give framework has been pivotal for us to be able to deliver all of these experiences because we've wanted to be in our zone of genius, which is presenting. And so that means that we get to ask for extra support for people that have the same mission or vision or just want to learn in the tech space. So we need somebody to facilitate a breakout room and help us with that process. So asking for what you want unlocks the opportunity for others to give and learn. So that's what I would have to say.
Cynthia, thank you for that. And we will share tomorrow afternoon some more ways that our community works together to collaborate and share insight and continue learning together as a member of the exchange community. So we'll talk a little bit more about that tomorrow afternoon. Thank you both, Cynthia and Taryn. Let's bring Dr. Nicole back up for any final words of wisdom or any parting thoughts you want to share, Dr. Nicole, before we wrap up today.
Yes, I've got two things that I want to share with you all. And one is simply this. As you learn more about exchange and you've really seen an example, bona fide fire in a bottle with Taryn and Cynthia, trust the simplicity of this process. For my fellow complificators, my brother and sister complificators out here, it's not going to work unless it's got 15 backflips and a Simone Biles kind of something. Trust the simplicity of the process. So that's the first part of this. Now, the second part of this, Steve, that I also want to speak to for my consultants that are working with the C-suite, or you're brought in, you're a strategist, you're working with some high-level folks. Also, I'm sorry, if you're working with community folks, if you're working with folks up and down the system chain, if you're bringing in facilities folks, if you're bringing in, I don't want you to think for a minute, or youth, that you have to dumb down your process so that they get value from it. Now, what one does want to do is to authentically connect. And you're going to get plenty of training. You're going to get plenty of opportunity and plenty of experience to understand. And Taryn and Cynthia just spoke about it. How do I fully show up in my who I am for real so that I can invite who Adair is for real? And then we can go about co-creating something absolutely magical. So don't be afraid of simplicity. Don't be afraid to keep it straight and believe people in that room are going to rise to the challenge of the real opportunity, power, and potential of what you're doing. So the only thing that I can put next to that is, if you want to get next to that, go sit with Cynthia and Taryn for a couple of those meetings. Come in. I mean, just take yourself 20,000 leagues under the sea in this community so that you can begin to meet yourself, your authentic power self for who you are, so that you can stand there and hold the space for other people to do exactly the same. And then you watch the magic. Then you watch this magic work. That's the only thing that I would add in there, Steve. I don't know if that's what you asked me, but that's what I
No, that was great. I love the recommendation on don't overcomplicate it, right? Trust the simplicity, keep it simple. And we do a lot of coaching inside of our community for members of our community. And one of the things we often will get to is kind of keeping it simple, right? Keeping it simple. And there's a lot of power in that, a lot of wisdom in that. So thank you for that reminder.